Na última quarta-feira, dia 16 de outubro, Israel, as forças de defesa de Israel, conseguiram cancelar o CPF do arquiteto do ataque de 7 de outubro de 2023, SINWAR, que há 2 meses era tido como o líder, o número um da organização terrorista Hamas. Né? Assim como os Estados Unidos fizeram uma operação cinematográfica em 2011 para cancelarem, eliminarem Osama Bin Laden. Dessa vez, quem fez essa operação cinematográfica foi Israel. E aí eu vou mostrar para vocês toda essa operação sensacional que culminou com o cancelamento do SINWAR. Vamos ver então o que eu trouxe para vocês. Esse vídeo está legendado em português e é um vídeo sensacional que mostra toda a capacidade militar e a capacidade de inteligência de Israel. Vamos lá.
The Israel Defense Forces reported that a unit from its Bislamak brigade was patrolling Tal al-Sultan, an area in Rafah, on Wednesday, October 16, 2024. 3 militants were identified and engaged by Israeli troops as they attempted to move from one building to another, firing back at the patrolling forces whenever possible. The patrolling tanks and the fighting vehicles fired shells at the buildings, destroying both structures. It wasn't until Thursday morning, October 17, when a DNA test confirmed that one of the militants was Yahya Sinwar, the elusive military commander. We will also explore in detail 2 possible scenarios, how he was eliminated, all covered in the videos ahead. At 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, October 16th, a soldier from the battalion of the Bislamak Brigade noticed a suspicious figure moving in and out of a building in Rafah's Sultan neighborhood. The soldier immediately informed the battalion commander, who assessed the situation. After evaluating the threat, the commander gave the order to open fire on the structure. The gunfight with the militants inside the building were relentless in not surrendering. Around 3 o'clock in the evening, a drone identified 3 individuals attempting to exit the building and move from house to house, using the structures as cover. 2 of these figures moved in front of the IDF line of fire to protect the 3rd figure. This in turn cleared the path for the 3rd individual, who was Sinwar, a high-value target which the IDF didn't know. The situation involved 2 key buildings. Building A is one where Sinwar's bodyguards had taken up positions, and the other structure B to which Sinwar moved. It was at this moment that the IDF forces targeted both buildings. It first opened fire on the structure where the bodyguards were positioned, using machine gun fire to neutralize the threat and clear a path. The operation accidentally isolated Sinwar, who had relocated to the 2nd building. As the situation unfolded, the IDF tanks, shell, and ground forces coordinated their efforts. After firing on the 1st building, they reloaded and redirected their fire towards the 2nd building where Sinwar had taken cover. Sinwar moved to the 2nd floor of this building in an attempt to evade capture. A tank then fired another shell, hitting the building, while an infantry platoon moved up to secure and search the area. During their approach, Sinwar threw 2 grenades at the advancing soldiers. 1 grenade exploded, forcing the soldiers to retreat temporarily for their safety. It was this moment. A drone was then deployed to survey the room. It spotted a man with an injured arm and a covered face identified as Sinwar. As the drone hovered, Sinwar threw a wooden stick at it in an attempt to disable the device. In response, the IDF forces fired another tank shell at Sinwar's location, ensuring they maintained control of the situation. It was at this moment the whole building was partially destroyed and the figure was crushed by the rubbles. This is scenario 2. In the south of Gaza, the IDF deployed a significant number of Namur infantry fighting vehicles in the operation. These vehicles were equipped with high-caliber guns and missiles mounted on their tops, allowing for both heavy firepower and precision strikes. According to reports from an IDF soldier, the forces targeted the building where Sinwar was believed to be hiding. They launched a missile from one of the Namur IFVs, striking the structure with huge explosion. To verify the success of the strike, the IDF then deployed a drone to inspect the aftermath and confirm whether Sinwar had been killed. On Wednesday, October 16th, the troops were unaware that the individual they were targeting was Sinwar himself. When the drone entered the demolished building, it captured footage of a man with his face covered, but did not know he was a high-value target. In response, the IDF directed additional fire at his location. This concentrated fire ultimately eliminated SINWAR. It wasn't until the next day, Thursday, October 17th, when IDF soldiers arrived on the scene, that they confirmed the identity of the individual killed as SINWAR. The soldier reporting the event noted that this confirmation was based on visual inspection, once they were physically at the site. However, out of caution, the troops suspected that the building might have been booby-trapped. To avoid any casualties from potential explosives, they chose not to remove the corpse immediately. Instead, they retrieved a part of SINWAR's finger and sent it to Israel for DNA testing to confirm his identity. Later that same day, after conducting thorough checks and ensuring the area was safe from any remaining threats or traps, the IDF managed to extract SINWAR's body. The remains were then transported to Israel for further examination and handling. Before we move into SINWAR military strategy, as an engineering channel, we'll first look into how to fire the Israeli Merkava tank. Now let's explore the interior of the tank, where we find the commander weapon station. The most prominent feature here is the primary sight extension, ensuring that both the commander and the gunner share the same view. On the side, you can see the commander display unit. This is the commander control system that tracks targets using the panoramic 360-degree sights and moves as demonstrated in this animation. In summary, the commander can operate the turret, search for targets, and fire the gun. Let's take a closer look at the gunner station. This section is referred to as the gunner handle, with the two black handles serving as the primary controls. Above them, you'll find a smaller red switch, which of course is the trigger. When this switch is pressed with both safeties disabled, the result is the firing of the 120mm gun. It's important to note that the gunner can operate this set of switches on one side. When pressed and held, the gunner can rotate the turret as demonstrated in the animation. These switches can also be used to elevate and depress the gun too when both of them are pressed and rotated. The result of these actions can be observed from outside the tank. When the gunner releases the switch, the gun movement stops. Located immediately adjacent to the commander is the loaders section. What is particularly intriguing is the loader's capability to choose an electrically operated revolving magazine for the type of ammunition required. The tank is equipped to house 48 rounds of ammunition, each securely stored within its protective container. An electrically operated revolving magazine is designed to accommodate 10 rounds that are readily available for immediate use. This setup serves to prevent a cook-off scenario when the tank is struck by enemy rounds. Additionally, the tank is equipped with a 60mm mortar positioned within the turret. When the situation calls for it, the operator can initiate the firing of the mortar round. When ready, the loader can fire the mortar round as shown in this visualization. SINWAR was born in the Khan Yunis refugee camp in Egyptian-ruled Gaza in 1962. After the assassination of Haniyeh, he became the top leader in Gaza. SINWAR was smart enough to sanction tunneling methods, ranging from simple manual strategies to slightly advanced methods like four-poling and drilling blasts for hardened rocks. He understands that tunnels can be reinforced with concrete to support the weak underground structures in Gaza, which are divided into approximately 7 to 8 levels deep underground. These tunnels are intentionally dug deep to protect against bunker buster bombs like the GBU-28 that can destroy tunnels. SINWAR, as a military leader, invested $3 million per tunnel for the construction of the underground metros since the last decade. Let's take a look at SINWAR Tunnel. At level 1, you will find the entrance as well as a launch pad for the Qassam rockets. Level 2 features a reinforced tunnel, which uses concrete blocks with an arc to support the structure. On level 3, the deep tunnels require oxygen for the different levels. This is one of the reasons an oxygen generator or air ventilator is needed to transfer fresh air from the surface and distribute it to the different levels. SINWAR was also the mastermind of the October 7 invasion. He launched a surprise attack on over 20 Israeli communities. As a military commander, he planned the assault by using a combination of rockets, paragliders, motorcycles, and other vehicles to penetrate Israel Defense Forces. This coordinated attack aimed to cause maximum disruption and casualties within a short period of time. He learned Hebrew during his 22 years in prison and also studied the IDF strategy. As stated, he perfected and expanded the already existing tunnel infrastructure and manages to perfect the hit and run tactics using the underground metro to its full advantage. Let's assume the Merkava tank as a target. Remember the tunnels we talked about in our recent video? The guerrillas would come out of the tunnels with these anti-tank RPGs. The Merkava has a trophy system, which works when the radar detects and classifies incoming targets. If the threat poses a danger, the countermeasure engages to neutralize it, keeping it away from the protected zone. But it does have its weaknesses. The soldiers were also instructed to use the elimination RPG at very close range to limit the trophy system radar to achieve its full potential. They would also target the rear armor, that is, these doors for infantry soldiers to enter, which is substantially weaker than the front and sides. The second option of what Hamas would do is just hitting the tanks with RPG just below the turret to damage the tank or render it stationary. We get our sources from ground news,